Good day, good folks. You are listening to Talk That Keeps You Woke. And with your awakening, we hope that you will take in the information and knowledge we provide. So make sure you like and subscribe while you hop on this ride as we inform, persuade, entertain, and engage in discussion. Welcome to Pot Liquor Podcast, which is knowledge to feed your soul. I make up one half of Pot Liquor. I go by Dr. A, the inquisitive one, a great debater, Mr. Slow Talker, a rhetorician, and an all-around nice guy, and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. The other half of Pot Liquor is my homie, my dear friend for more than 30 years, Kim Parker Jackson Esquire, the legal one, Mrs. Creativity, never obnoxious, the gifted one, a terrific lady, and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Okay, we are back and better than ever. What's going on, partner?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I am well. How are you, Dr. A?
I'm good, getting over a cold. I can't seem to shake it. I feel good, but I still have, some mucus making its way out of my body.
Okay, well, let me say one more time. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I am well. I had a good week, and I'm glad to hear that you are hanging in there and getting better.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good today. It was Communion Sunday.
I know.
So when you watch it from home, you gotta get your own little drink.
Your grape juice and your crackers.
Yeah, we didn't have any grape juice, so we had to use the real stuff this morning.
Right.
So
Manischewitz.
No, actually Johnny Walker.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well,
so just a little bit.
As long as you do it in remembrance of the Lord, that's all.
Right.
That's all it's about.
That's right. So, as always, we start our show off with the wow of the week, which stands for words of wisdom. And this week's wow comes from A. Philip Randolph. Freedom is never granted, it is won. Justice is never given, it is exacted. Sort of like what Brother Frederick Douglass had said, nothing concedes power except power. So when he said this was a time where African Americans weren't completely free. We were still under Jim Crow segregation, and the Civil Rights Act hadn't passed yet. So he's right. He's basically saying if you're waiting for freedom to be given to you, you're mistaken. You must go out and take your own freedom. What say you, partner?
I say amen and amen. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. And Angela Davis said it another way. She said, I like how she said, freedom is a constant struggle. And to me, that means we have to fight for it. And we have to be vigilant, and we have to be persistent. And that is what these words of wisdom mean to me as well.
That's right. So our words of wisdom this week is from A. Philip Randolph. Freedom is never granted, it is won. Justice is never given, it is exacted.
Amen.
But before we get into our what's going on this week, we're going to get into our first plug. And I think this is one we all know about.
Yes, it is indeed. And this is something I really like, and also my family really likes, and it is Pearl Milling Company original, complete pancake mix, pancake and waffle mix. And I can definitely attest to the fact that Justin Jackson, our beloved son, can eat pancakes and waffles every morning. Every morning he gets up, he wants to have pancakes and waffles. So we make a lot of pancakes and a lot of waffles in the Jackson household. And this is great because it's a time saver. All you have to do is add water when you make pancakes. When you make waffles, you just add water and a little bit of oil, and voila, you have waffles. And they are delicious. And this box is 80 ounces, and we get this from BJ's, and this actually comes in like a 2-pack. So we'll get 2 80-ounce boxes of this pancake mix.
How long does it last?
And we go through it. It doesn't last that long. Probably once every couple of months, maybe a month. I don't know. Just goes so fast, and we always seem to have it on hand. That's for sure.
Hey,
And
so
this
won't you?
box is almost done. Lucky, be quiet. That's my dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we move on, won't you introduce our other partner that's in the background?
That's our beloved Labradoodle. He's a chocolate Labradoodle, and somebody just delivered an Amazon package, and he is sitting in front of the door. So he is a bit of a, I guess, a watchdog as well. So we know somebody's at the door when Lucky's barking. But normally he's like very laid back and chill and just, fluffy and cute and
That's
fun
what
to have around.
all dog owners say about their dog.
It's
So
true
you come
though.
to their house and they start barking at you.
I know. I'm always like, if they got teeth, they bite.
Exactly. Exactly. All right.
And let us move on.
So we are going to get into our first what's going on the week. And that is Submersible. This was in the news. This was an unfortunate situation. So we're going to explore that right now.
Go ahead.
My thoughts on this. At first, when they were talking about it, my first reaction was, why would you want to go do that? You're risking going down. And I know one of the gentlemen had been down there that was his 38th mission, going down to to explore the Titanic.
Well, are you speaking? Okay, so there were 5 people that went down that were lost.
Yeah.
Hamish Harding, Shahzada Dawood, Suleiman Dawood, Paul Henry Nargiole, and Stockton Rush. So 2 of them were father and son. That's the
Dawoods.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're talking. And then
No, I'm not talking about them. It was the scientists who been down there on several missions to go explore the Titanic. Like, he's a Titanic expert.
Right.
They said, and what I'm saying is, when you're down there, going down there that much, I guess the journey to go down there is like, okay, I've done this before, so you're not skeptical or anything like that. So that is the courage for him to get into the device. I guess the very first time I would have said, no, not me.
Right. Was that the owner of it? Ocean Gate owner, Stockton Rush? Or was it?
It might be. I gotta check.
Yeah. I think, okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand why people are so curious about seeing basically an underwater gravesite. It's the wreckage, of the Titanic, and we've all seen the movie. Did you watch the movie Titanic?
Of course.
Right. the blockbuster movie Titanic, which was like what, 3 hours. It's like that was not enough time exploring, what happened on the Titanic. I don't understand why you need to see it in person. That's the part I didn't get. And then I went on YouTube and watched a video of the wreckage, like like more of a present day video. And I don't know if it was taken with like a machine. You know how they send machines remotely down to take pictures and stuff like that, or video. Um, but I'm like, okay, so they paid $250,000 a pop to go down and look at a watery grave when I went on YouTube and saw it for free. So I'm like, I don't get the
But let's be
attraction.
honest. We're talking about the money, but they were billionaires, right?
Yeah.
So that's nothing to them. That probably was like equivalent to, I don't know, $25 or $250 maybe. Let's say
Maybe,
that.
but and it just makes you think about how that money could be put to, I guess it's a personal judgment as to whether it could be put to better use. I mean, I'm not the type of person that counts other people's money or tells them what they need to do with their money, but it just seems like, especially considering the outcome.
I'm saying if it was for $25, I wouldn't have went.
You wouldn't go, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
So it's not the money to me. I'm just like, oh no, I'm not going down there. Too,
Right.
too many things can happen. And what I know about water pressure and deep ocean diving is just not good. The other the guy who was on his 38th dive to the wreckage was Paul Henry
Oh yeah, that guy.
no,
Nagiole.
Nagiole, yeah,
Yeah.
a French scientist, and he's a global authority on the Titanic. So that was his 38th dive.
Right. Yeah, and then the fact that it like an hour and 45 minutes after it left the dock, it imploded. And so these people they probably perished immediately. And that's just a terrible way to go. But people are saying like they probably didn't even realize what was happening, because it happened so fast. So the good thing is that they probably didn't suffer. But for me, I don't think I could have ever done it, just simply because I mean, I can barely breathe looking at the pictures of it, because that just seems very claustrophobic. And to have 5 people in that little tube like that, I mean, I don't even know how you could breathe, breathe very well in there, even with the oxygen supply that they had, that apparently ran out, a few days after they left. Like maybe, I think it had 96 hours worth of oxygen.
Just too much for me.
It's just too much.
It
It's in
was
general.
it
And
was in
and then
general, yeah.
and then the massive rescue effort. They had planes, they had the Coast Guard, they had divers, they had, all kinds of stuff to find these 5 people. And my sincerest condolences go out to the families of those 5 people. But it just, with this extreme tourism, it just doesn't seem fair that we have to use our resources to go and find people when extreme tourism goes badly. It just doesn't seem fair that you know rescue personnel have to risk their lives trying to save people who decide to do these extreme sports and extreme tourism. But I know that's what they signed up for, but it just doesn't seem fair.
I don't know what you mean when you say fair. Like, to me, if you know a life is missing, you try your best. Like when folks, I live in Houston, Texas, not far from the Gulf, and there's a lot of times people go out there on boats and they get lost, and the Coast Guard goes out there to try to save them.
Right. But then when there's signs to say don't do it, like when there's signs to say, for example, on beaches, when it says there's a riptide flag flying, don't go in the water.
Yeah, but
You could
still,
die.
even if
It's not safe.
if
And then
you
you
even
do
go in
it,
the
and now
water,
I gotta risk my life as
yeah,
the life. You see what I'm saying?
no, I don't. I don't.
That's what I mean, though.
I know. I said, so you're saying, okay, they got drunk, they ain't pay attention to the sign. Oh well,
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, yes, you signed up to be a lifeguard. So, yes, go and save the people. But I'm just saying, it's not fair. As the person who's making these like unwise decisions, think about somebody other than yourself. Take into account that if something happens to you, you're not following the rules, first of all. And if something happens to you, now you've endangered the life of someone else who now has to come and try to rescue you. That's all I'm saying. So it just seems when you make these decisions, it just seems like they're not factoring that in. Of course, you hope that nothing's going to happen. But when you break the rules, when there's clear rules saying don't do this, this is dangerous, this could kill you, and then you do it anyway, that's when, to me, it just doesn't seem fair. And then with this extreme tourism, there was no official transportation expert or agency or organization that approved this vessel as being safe. So, okay, so now we have a vessel that's not officially,
No, I get what you're saying, but I get what you're saying, but the sentiment should always be to save a life that's lost.
Of
Period.
course.
Like,
Of course.
I get what you're saying. Like, they should
Yeah.
take ownership and the responsibility. And the reason why there was a lot of people trying to go out and save them, because before they went, there was a lot of attention paid to what they were doing.
Yeah. So we kind of knew, everybody
Right.
had
So if
eyes
they
on them,
didn't
and we
go, they
knew
was
they
like,
would do
wow, they going to let humans would have been like, wow, they just going to let these men drown down there. They ain't going to
No.
make no effort to go get. So it's almost damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah. And then
So
when you juxtapose it with the migrants that were lost,
yeah,
people were talking about the numbers varied, because I've heard 500 drowned, and I've heard there were
700,
750. Yeah. But I mean, it's still a lot of people. And the sad thing about it is that I didn't even hear about that story until this story. And they said that had happened like back in April or something like that. Did you hear that?
yeah.
It was
I
like months ago. We
I
hadn't even
think
heard of it.
it was awful that those folks drowned. What I don't like to do is when we start comparing, all their lives were lost.
Catastrophe Olympics.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe. Yeah, they were trying to get here, and it's like, oh, folks don't care about these people, and I'm not saying these arguments can't be valid. I just think, like, is that a time to talk about that?
Do you think something could have been done to save those migrants? I mean, I don't know.
If folks knew they were out there, yes, definitely.
I guess you could send the Coast Guard to try to retrieve whoever you could retrieve from the water.
Yeah.
And I don't know the extent of any rescue efforts at all. It's just
Yeah,
like I
like
said,
you
we
said,
didn't
I
even
didn't know.
hear
I
about it.
didn't know about it until after this.
Right. So it just, to me, it just speaks to the value that we place on certain human lives over others. And
Yeah.
I just think that migrants aren't held in as high a regard as wealthy people.
You mean
So
they're not held in as high regard? Their
well,
lives aren't
yeah,
valued. Yeah.
you're right. And so I think, we need to examine ourselves with regard to the value that we place on certain lives.
All right.
And let us move on.
All right, so we got Starbucks workers protesting. This is not the first time they've done so. They have. They were protesting over working conditions, like not enough staff, not enough pay, so on and so forth. But now this time they were protesting over Starbucks banning like the pride decorations in the coffee shop.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so there was a walkout for like 3 days, I think,
Oh my goodness. Was this
because of this
everywhere?
situation. They said I think it was like 500 stores
Oh my
participating.
goodness, that's a lot of workers.
Yeah.
So they like walked out at it. You said for 3 days?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was like
3
they
days
left
straight,
it.
or they came to
No, they
work?
left it unmanned and unwoman, unperson, I should say. um, but I think the walkout was, a demonstration. So there's a lot has been going on. I think we covered Target too. Remember about
Right.
their pride decorations. I guess people are getting upset about the queer community celebrating their queerness and their identities. And I'm trying to really understand, how does that impact you or impact another person? And I really thought about it, like, what would I be against? Satanic worshiping. But if when they sell like skull and bones flags in the store, that doesn't bother me. They sell pictures of what they perceive the cartoon caricature of a devil looks like. I don't get upset at that. And I know I'm individualizing it right now. But if you see a flag in the store, I don't see the issue or the problem with that.
Well, the Starbucks CEO, Howard Schultz, is basically, I mean, he's pretty liberal. He's a liberal guy. And I think here the employees are protesting because Starbucks said that they could not display the pride um, flags and
In the store,
signs and
yeah.
things of that nature, just showing LGBTQIA plus solidarity and pride, and they wanted to display it in the store, but the store made a decision that basically it's not safe for the employees, and it kind of makes sense if you consider what happened in Target. Remember when we talked about Target, they wanted to sell the LGBTQIA plus and the pride merchandise in the Target stores, and employees were being attacked by customers, or people that just don't I guess agree with I don't know, agree with that community, or agree with the I don't know, who are, I guess, opposed to pride. Let's put it that way. And they were being attacked. So Starbucks did not want that to happen. And so basically they're trying to protect their employees. So from my perspective, I can understand their concern for their employees, because it could end up backfiring. So say, for example, people who are part of the LGBTQIA plus community who work for Starbucks want to display their pride at work, whether they are hanging a poster or hanging a sign or waving a flag or wearing something to indicate that they are either in solidarity with the community or a part of the community. What if there are other employees who don't who don't make the choice to do that, and a customer comes in and attacks that employee, or even attacks any of the employees, the ones wearing or displaying the
So
pride, or the ones
their
who
reason
aren't,
their
then
reason
they
was
can actually sue the company. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
They can sue the company.
their
Yeah.
reasons were the same as Target's.
Well, when you say the same as Target, you're talking about
What
when
was
Target
Starbucks
removed them?
concern? Was Starbucks concern?
Yes. Yes.
They
They're
were,
not saying you can't do it because we are anti-LGBTQIA+.
well, I understand that.
Yeah, they're saying, yeah, we want to protect you, employees. We want to, you know, we are in solidarity with you as well, with the, you know, pride and the community, but we just want to protect our employees. And we've
Would
seen,
that be similar to police telling black folks in the 50s, in the 60s, well, we're preventing you from sitting at the counters because we don't want violence inflicted upon you?
that would probably be similar to that. Yeah. And I see the point that you're making. But by the same token, you have to also see it from the perspective of the company. Like I said, they can open themselves up to liability as well if
That's
one of
true.
their employees gets hurt. You see what I'm saying?
That's
From
true.
some crazy person. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I see both sides. I see both sides of this. You raise an excellent point though. I mean, they if you feel this strongly about pride and you want to assume the risk of perhaps being attacked by someone, then you might argue I should be able to assume that risk. If I feel this strongly about this issue, and you should not prevent me from displaying my pride. However, again, you are putting me, Mr. Starbucks, at risk for having this liability, and subjecting myself to being sued. It could be even being sued by a customer. Say if you're in the store, if I'm ordering my latte and a crazy person comes in and says this is ridiculous and starts attacking the barista, and I get caught in the crossfire and get hurt, I'm suing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's where Starbucks is with it. So yeah, the last thing Starbucks need is another public relations, a public relations issue. Remember the issue with the gentlemen that were trying to use the bathroom and just sitting in there, and they called the police on them and all that whole thing?
Yeah.
That was crazy. And then they ended up, overcorrecting by they shut down and tried to re-educate everybody on racial sensitivity training and all of that. Yeah, it's a mess. They don't need any more smoke. They're like, we don't want any of this smoke right here.
With that being said,
let us move on.
Creep on in, on in, on in. See, I'm riding high, kind of broke,
so our next story, this is why I'm playing this music.
Player, give me some brew and I might just chill. But I'm the type that like to light another joint like Cypress Hill. I still do these spit loogies when I puff on it. I got some bucks on it, but it ain't enough on it. Go get the S-T-I-D-E-S. Nevertheless, I'm hella fresh, rolling joints like a cigarette. So pass it across the table like ping pong. I'm gone, beating my chest like King Kong.
So yeah, that was appropriate for our next story. Weed smoking rule against a DC judge ordered a gentleman that was smoking marijuana in his house that he couldn't smoke it anymore. Mm-hmm. Now, I did my research, and right now, marijuana is legal in 24 of the 50 states in the United States, plus Guam, which I believe is a territory of the United States. So, in well, let's say 23, because DC is a district, not a state. Right. So they don't have statehood. So let's say 23, Guam and DC. So in Washington, DC, marijuana, recreational marijuana is legal. So this person smoking marijuana in his house, in their house, I should say, was told to stop.
Right. A judge for the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, so this is a local court,
For
said
you,
that
local court for you.
right in DC, that a duplex resident must stop smoking or burning marijuana in any form that emits an odor. Wow. And the neighbor is Josefa Ippolito Shepherd. They filed a lawsuit seeking $500,000 in damages for negligence, nuisance, and trespass. And they claimed that the marijuana smoke she claimed that the marijuana smoke damaged her property and that she has had adverse health episodes such as respiratory issues, headaches, and nausea.
I don't know. Wouldn't that just be seen as, if I'm doing something legal and it impacts you, like, how are you suing me for that? Because I didn't break any
But
law.
see, the problem is now you have two competing rights, because one neighbor has a right and a right to legally smoke marijuana in their own home, but the other neighbor also has a right to the use and enjoyment of their property without you infringing on that.
Yeah, I guess like that's like the music situation.
Right,
Like when you
right.
playing your music real loud, you have a right to play your music, but not to the decimal level where it's impacting your neighbors, and they
Exactly.
can't sleep or anything like that. So
Right.
yeah, it's just like work on your yard. Really, I think you're not allowed to start work on your yard until maybe it's 7 in the morning, and then you have
Yeah.
to end at a certain time in the evening.
And it's
Now,
probably going to vary depending on your location.
yeah,
What
it
city you're
does.
in, what state. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I
it'll be
know
like an ordinance.
some neighborhoods and some developments, the ordinance is like 9:30. You can start.
You're right.
So you
Right.
can't come in and do construction that early in the morning, and then they have to stop by like 4:30.
Right. But I thought weed smokers had all kinds of ways to keep the
Camouflage
smell.
the smoke. Yeah,
Yeah, like they put towels under the doors,
they
and
do that
then
in hotels a lot.
yeah, burn incense. Like, why can't the person? What, they hanging out the window smoking weed? I mean, what are you doing? Like,
Smoking out the window. Um,
right? You see what I'm saying? So I'm
yeah.
like, there has to be a
Smoke
way for them,
travels though. It does. And people who smoke in the hotels thinking that that smoke gets into the carpet.
especially that what they call it loud. That loud.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
They
an
call it,
expert.
yeah, it's a form of weed they call loud. I mean, I've heard people refer to it as loud. And I guess that's because the smell is loud. I don't know. But it just seems like it should be a way for everybody to live in peace. Because now that marijuana has been legalized in many states, and everywhere I go now, I'm smelling weed. Like, people are in cars, like in parking lots, smoking weed. I know in Maryland it's illegal to smoke it publicly. So you could get a fine, like if you're caught smoking weed publicly. So
Okay.
people, are expecting for people, and you can't obviously drive under the influence of smoking weed. So if you get pulled over and you're determined to be under the influence of it, you could
Yeah.
get a fine. Um, But it's
Yeah,
kind of scary
that's a
because
DW. That's a DWI.
exactly. But it's scary now that I think people were doing it before, but now that it's legal, I think it's like more prevalent now. And I'm always concerned about
So
if I'm
how is it?
driving by
I guess
somebody that's high, like
if
because your
it's
reflexes are slower.
yeah, but they going slow. You don't see people smoking, driving 100 and something miles. They cruising.
You don't, but that's what I'm saying though. But if you're making a like changing lanes or turning and you encounter somebody that's been smoking, their reflexes are slower now. So if they don't see you in time or something, that could cause an accident because their reflexes are slower. So I'm always concerned, like, are they paying attention? Like, so that's my concern. But I mean, I get this ruling. I think we have to, it just underscores the need to be considerate of other people. It's not just about what you want to do for
I get
your
the
pleasure
ruling.
and
I
your
just don't
enjoyment.
get the civil suit that she's trying to that the neighbor is trying to file.
It's an injury because it's like it's a nuisance because of your negligence. I guess you're not doing anything to try to prevent this from happening to me. And I've been injured because now I'm nauseous. I have a headache. I have respiratory issues. I can't breathe because you want to enjoy your weed. So you've injured me. And
Did
this
I,
is what
but did
people
I
gonna
know
start
that?
getting it.
Did I know that?
Well, I don't know the details of the case, but I'm sure that I mean it would definitely help her case if she had asked him some, maybe she can document that she asked him several times, can you do this someplace else or is there something you can do to try to keep this smell from coming over into my apartment because it's making me sick. Maybe she did do that. I don't know. But I would guess that she did because she won this lawsuit. If the judge ruled in her favor, you know what I mean?
Oh, I thought the judge just ruled that they couldn't.
Smoke the weed.
Yeah. I'm not.
Well, that's in her favor, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. I don't
Okay.
know though. I don't know if she got any money. She tried to get some money though.
And let us move on.
He might have to get some edibles.
All right.
Hey.
So we go to an oldie but goodie. And we are about to plug our brand. And our brand for today is Converse. Now these are the Chucks, but Converse makes all kinds of athletic attire, and hats and paraphernalia, things of that nature. I think everybody I know has a classic pair of Converse,
Convert.
either black, red, green, white. They come in a variety of colors. I remember when I was a young kid, around maybe 5 or 6 years old, and I bought my parents, I should say, brought me a brand new pair of these in high tops. Now I think the low tops back then were like $12 and the high tops were like 18, if I remember correctly, because I remember seeing that in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Times have changed. They're going for like $50 or $60 now. The low tops, and I don't know how much the high tops are going for. But now Converse is owned by Nike.
That I did not know.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, they purchased Converse a while ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I have the ones with the lug sole, like the big
the
thick
big thick toe.
platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm
The
seeing a
black and
lot
white
of
one.
women, on at the universities that I teach. I see them wearing those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I only seen them in the white and the black. I haven't seen them in any
Right.
other color.
My
Um,
daughter Ryan, she wanted the high top like original Converse, like the plain, you know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
with
That's
the high top,
now at
classic ones.
Texas A&M, the students wear those, and I'll just step out and say mainly it's the white girls that's wearing those.
Oh yeah.
Like their trend, they
Yeah.
follow each other. Where I feel like other cultures, particularly African American cultures, they try to be different, you know,
Right.
and unique.
True.
You know,
True.
like I got the Converse with the red and white laces in them. You know, they ain't up on these. Used to crack me up when black folks used to say, "They ain't rocking what I'm rocking," but you didn't make it. You know, you purchased it at a store, so somebody's rocking what you rocking.
But that's
You
the
know.
thing is we are I like to say that black people are the purveyors of what's cool.
True.
So we can take something that's a classic like a Converse and bring it back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
What that's.
Yeah. We do that. We might bring back Gazelle. Never know.
And let us move on.
All right. I'm sorry, I'm messing up today.
We're a little rusty.
Yeah, we are. We have a question. It's a question. Address the question. This is a question. So what's the question? Answer the question. All right. So the question of the week is, how many seconds are there in a year? How many seconds are there in a year? Last week's question was, a cowboy rode into town on Friday. He stayed in town for 3 days and rode out on Friday. How is that possible? And the answer to that is the horse he rode in on, its name was Friday. So the name of the horse was Friday. So a cowboy rode in on Friday. He stayed in town for 3 days and then he rode out on Friday. So Friday is his horse. That's how it is possible.
Well, all right. Well, all
Let
right.
us move on.
Hey.
Okay. Again. Excuse me, y'all. I'm just having a little hiccup today because I'm working with 2 rundowns. I should be working with 1. So excuse me.
That's okay.
So,
We're enjoying the music. We're enjoying the music.
And let us move on.
Hey.
all
Black.
right.
Black, black, black. Black on black, black. Yeah. Hey. Okay, black, 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 black on black, black, my thoughts so black, 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 I'm black, my skin is so black, I'm rocking that black on black is black. Rims on these black wheels.
All right. So Solange Knowles Glassware collection is what we're featuring today in our Buy Black segment. I know she probably hates this, but Solange Knowles is the sister of Beyonce Knowles.
I know. She's like, I'm my own person.
Or Beyonce is the sister of Solange Knowles.
I know that's right.
So she is starting a glassware collection with an artist. I believe he's out of Philadelphia, and his name is Jason McDonald. And is, if you can see on the photo that I have up of some of the glasses that they put together. Solange said it was important for our first small matter project to be an object designed with Black thought and created by Black hands. And she says she's forever grateful to Jason McDonald's artistry. So it's glassware, as you can see right there. It looks pretty nice, actually. And it's made with sand and glass. What's your take on it?
Well, yeah, she's calling this small objects matter. And I guess that's kind of a play on Black Lives Matter. Um, and she's saying the collection is intended to deepen the contributions of Blackness to objects, collecting, design, and glass blowing. It is our hope that these glassworks become cherished objects in your own sacred spaces. And this, she said this on her Instagram page on June 20th when she debuted her glassware collection. I think it's beautiful. I mean, I love beautiful things and looking at beautiful things. And I think I'm one of these people. I think things taste better when they're eaten off of, a pretty
Better
plate.
dishes?
Yeah, like a pretty plate or like a really cool glass that I really like, or I like drinking from like my favorite, cups and glasses and things of that nature and eating on my favorite plate. So yeah, yeah, I'm the type of person when I see a piece of art, it kind of um elicits a certain feeling or a certain response. It makes you feel luxurious or cozy or fun, or you know what I mean? So I like looking at beautiful things like these glasses that she's made, like different it looks like wine glasses, and I'm sure there's all sorts of pieces that you can use. I call it useful art, or what's the word? I get, for example, handbags. I think you can use them, and they can also be aesthetically pleasing and beautiful. So yeah, I like art
I
that
like
you can wear and use. Yes.
I like her collection. Um, I like dishes and things of that nature too. Although I can say it makes the food taste better. I mean, I've tasted food on a paper plate
If it's good, it's good, right?
that can put on a Tiffany plate. Put it to shame. So,
To
yeah,
me, it just makes it an experience. Put
yeah,
it that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you have that, but I think this is a nice collection that she has, and we wish her the
All the
best.
best. Yes.
Yes.
And let us move on.
Like this.
Hey.
Keep on.
Hey.
Never say die. Keep on. Like this. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on.
Okay. So today we want to highlight Mary Richardson Jones as our little known Black history fact. Mary Richardson Jones was born in Tennessee in 1819. She was an abolitionist, a philanthropist, a women's rights advocate, and an Underground Railroad operative. The Jones household was a stop on the Underground Railroad and a center of abolitionist activity in the pre-Civil War era, helping hundreds of fugitives fleeing safe slavery. Mary Jane Richardson Jones, our little known Black history fact.
You hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how reality seems, just hold on to the dream. Yeah. Long as you keep your head to the sky, can be. Long as you keep your head to the sky, you can be.
Love that song. I say it every time. Love that song.
All right, so we move into our third plug of today, which is our podcast plug. And it is coming from Higher Learning. Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay dissect the biggest topics in Black culture, politics, and sports 2 times per week. They will wade into the most important and timely conversations, frequently inviting guests on the podcast and occasionally debating each other. So that is Higher Learning.
I really like Van Lathan. I remember him from TMZ Live.
Yeah.
When he had the,
He
I
did the
guess,
sports, right?
confrontation. Well, I don't think so. I thought he was more like pop culture, politics kind of thing.
Yeah, he was, but I remember him debating the sports topics. Why did he get fired again?
I don't remember, but I just remember he had that confrontation with Kanye West. Remember that? When Kanye went off about slavery and he had to set him straight. But anyway, and I used to listen to the podcast that he had with Jamel Hill when they broke down. They did a episode by episode breakdown of The Wire, and I was all in. Like over the pandemic, I watched all 5 seasons of The Wire, and so I would listen to their podcast when they would break down each episode.
I remember that. I didn't listen to all their podcasts, but I remember one show. Speaking of Jamel Hill.
Oh, I was just going to tell you the name of it. It was called the song. Okay, do you remember the theme song from The Wire? It was like Down in the something.
Yeah. I remember it.
That's what the name of the podcast was.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell you in a second. But go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was saying her show she didn't get renewed by Spotify.
Jamel Hill?
Yeah, Unbothered.
What?
That doesn't mean that the show is going away.
Right. It'll just go on another platform. But I loved her.
I mean, it could be in negotiations. You know how that is.
Way Down in the Hole. That's what it's called. Remember that?
Yeah.
So the podcast was Down in the Hole or something like that. But yeah.
And let us move on.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Okay, so we have another Supreme Court justice that did the same thing Clarence Thomas did. Justice Alito.
What I tell you?
So I'm going to let my partner, who is very passionate about this, speak.
No, it's just that, he also was found to have been receiving gifts from wealthy donors. I mean, that, like I said, is a concern in general that justices on our highest court in the land are receiving these luxurious gifts from, in Clarence Thomas's case, it was a GOP, wealthy GOP, billionaire GOP donor. But now that it's come out that Justice Samuel Alito has done similar or received similar gifts, it just raises the question as to whether this court needs to have a code of ethics. And I think it's very clear that they actually do, but it seems that they believe that they can police themselves and such a code of ethics is not necessary. I know Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson has revealed all of the gifts that she received, and there were things like, and that's the problem, is if you document this stuff and disclose it, then it wouldn't be a problem, or it would be less of a problem. It would be less of a problem if you would disclose it.
It shows you're not trying to conceal it.
Exactly, because when you try to conceal it, that's when it raises suspicion. Like, well, why are you trying to conceal this? It almost shows that you
have something to hide, yeah.
Or you agree that it's nefarious. It's not on the up and up.
It's not ethical.
Yeah, absolutely unethical. And don't let me go down the list of all the things wrong with it. Erodes the public trust, is just flat out wrong. And you just lose respect for the court. Um, especially with some of the recent decisions that have come down. But Justice Jackson, she disclosed things like when she did her Vogue cover, from being the first African American woman to be a justice on the Supreme Court. They did a shoot. She was photographed by the famous photographer, I think Annie Leibovitz,
Yeah.
and they gave her, they put her in different looks and, outfits and things of that nature. And so she kept those things. And granted, they were very expensive clothes, but nothing like, and of course she disclosed it. And that's why we know about it. If you look at her pictures on the cover of Vogue, they're beautiful. She wore like this really beautiful brown suit. And so she got to keep all of those things. So she was like, I'm telling you everything. She was like, I got these shoes, I got this suit. Like, yeah, because we know this is the same thing with Obama, the Obamas. When you're the first black anything, we already know people we got a target on us. We do everything right because we know all they need is, unless you're Justice Thomas and you uphold white supremacy and you're part of the white power establishment, white power structure in this country. So, yeah,
I don't think he's a part of it. He supports
he.
it though.
If you supported Dr. Ann, come on, you're a part of it.
I
Don't
don't
do
still
that.
think they let him.
Don't do that. Now, come on.
You support
Seriously,
it. Yeah, because
that doesn't make you a part of it.
he's still a black man in this country, regardless.
I don't
And
care
he
if you
still got law.
blue.
Even though he doesn't think so, there are white supremacist laws and stereotypes that will go against his black ass too.
But he doesn't. I
He doesn't
honestly
think
believe
that.
he doesn't see himself as a black
If
man
Clarence
because
Thomas
he
is
thinks
riding
this
down
is
the
a
street,
colorblind society.
if he's riding down the street, he can get pulled over too. He can get profiled too. Everybody's not going to know who he is. So, yes, that's the structure he's under. That's what I'm saying. He'll say, oh, it'll never happen. And of course, it probably has happened to him. So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I said he's just in support and in favor of it.
I guess the point that I'm making is I believe that if Justice Jackson had been caught accepting these kinds of gifts, we may be looking at impeachment proceedings.
Nah,
For
they
her.
would have protected her too. You know why?
I don't know. I
Come
disagree.
on now.
I
You
just
just
don't
said
know. We
they
ain't gonna
would have
never find out though
I'm gonna
because
tell you
she's not
why.
gonna
Because
do that.
if she would have got in trouble, guess what? All they dirt will come out. And then if you're gonna get her in trouble, then Clarence Thomas, I'm sorry, you're going down too. Justice Alito, you're going down too, because she did nothing different from what y'all did. And the fact that she's a woman, a lot of people would stand up for that fact right there. So
I don't think so though, because especially with the makeup of the House,
why didn't Clarence Thomas go down? See, Alito went
because
down.
of the makeup of the House. Nobody's
No,
gonna impeach him. They not gonna,
Alito didn't go, but that's what. Well, then why are you? Oh, you saying because she's Democratic? She's a Democrat.
right.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying?
I thought you were talking about gender and race. You're
Well,
talking
yeah,
about
I'm always
political
talking
party.
about. I mean, yeah, that's a factor, but I'm just saying with
It
this,
wasn't a factor with Thomas though.
right? Because okay, even if he was impeached, well, I
You see
just
what
don't.
I'm saying? Like,
I don't see it. I don't see it passing because you have to pass that. Congress has to convict the person of whatever they're being impeached for. And so remember before, that's why Trump didn't get impeached because although, well, he wasn't convicted. He was impeached, but he wasn't convicted. You see what I'm saying? Because you have to vote on that.
he's impeached twice, right?
Exactly, but he was never convicted.
Yeah.
And yet he's still running for president. This is
Let us
America.
move on.
Sorry about that.
Let us move on.
I thought you were done.
No.
All right. We are giving it up to the 2023 NBA draft. These all the folks that got drafted in the NBA in the first and second round. Well, there are only 2 rounds now. There used to be 7 back in the day. But now it's 2 rounds. And, you know, there were a lot of different suits that were worn. The fashion definitely stood out that night. Whether you liked it or you did not, but they were very fashionable on stage. They wore what I would call attention-grabbing outfits.
Right. I like the one that had all the bling on it. What was that guy's name?
Number 0 right there. That's Scoot Henderson.
I like, what's his name? Scoot?
Yeah, Scoot Henderson.
I even like his name. I love that. That's his nickname?
Yeah, but that's what everybody calls him.
I like, you can tell that's you can tell that's a black nickname from a black household. Scoot. You know?
He had 7 brothers and sisters, I believe.
Oh God.
Yeah, they all were there. They all were there.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Then they had the twins, Amin and Usar.
Amin and Usar, yeah. I saw a TikTok video about them, how when they were 9 years old, they had a vision board, and on their vision board was to be best players in the NBA, to be billionaires. And then they had this long list of like a daily agenda that they would have that included like 250 push-ups and 500 shots and all that,
30 minutes of reading.
Yeah, 30 minutes of reading and 30 minutes of writing.
Yeah.
And then when I went down the list, I was like, I think they ran out of hours in the day. They had more things to do in the day than they had time. But that's what their hard work paid off. And it was just a beautiful thing to see. And I know their parents are super proud.
Their father is the catalyst. And then you have Victor Wembanyama, who is from France, and he's 7'3.5" with his sneakers off, but 7'5" with them on. So
he gets 2 inches from sneakers. He gets 2 inches from his shoe.
No, 1.5 inches.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's what we all get about 1 inch.
But basketball shoes don't seem like the sole is that thick. But
yeah, I mean, he wears a size 20, so he needs 5.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And he's super athletic too, right?
Yeah, he has a 8 feet wingspan.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And remember, we talked about that. You said you cannot coach height.
You can't.
And
he can stand on the ground and kick his foot up and touch the rim.
No way.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So even if he was goofy and uncoordinated, they would have turned him into a basketball player.
That's just like Shaq. Shaq is one of the greatest players. And I knew Shaq was going to be good because when he was in high school, he was breakdancing and popping and locking. I said, because you play sometimes, shorter people, they got more agility, they more compact, so they can do things quicker. Big folks, especially when they're young, they got to grow into their body.
But he's still doing that on his show.
Yeah. He's still doing it. He's still doing it. Yeah.
On the best show. That show is so good. Even I watch that show.
He is. They're funny. Mm-hmm. They're definitely entertaining.
Oh, Ernie just got inducted into the Hall of Fame, the broadcast journalism Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I did know that.
Did you see the video of Chuck telling him live on TV?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a video. It's probably viral by now, but it's going around. And I learned that Charles, what's his name? God, why can't I think of his
Charles
name?
Barkley?
Charles Godley. Charles Barkley is
Yeah.
already in the Broadcast Journalism Hall of Fame. I was like, what? Before Ernie? So what happened was the crew asked Charles to announce it live on air, and Ernie didn't know. And so you get to see his reaction. Are you pulling it up now?
Hmm.
It's very cool. It's very, very cool. You want to play it? Oh,
Let me try if I find it real quick.
yeah. Let me see if I can find it. But it was very, very cool because he didn't know. And so he found out, Ernie found out, what's his last name, Dr. A?
Ernie Johnson. Here we go.
Ernie Johnson.
Here it is.
Okay.
Okay. This is big. This is big. I want to be the first.
I can't hear it.
Who knows this? I want to be the first person. It's an honor and a privilege to congratulate Ernie Johnson going into the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Get out of here. Yeah. What are you talking about? They told me, and they said, would you do this? I said, be an honor. It's an honor and a privilege to tell you, Ernie Johnson, congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
Man, that is awesome. Thank you so much. And you know what? I'm taking the rest of the day off. Thank you, guys. And whoever is responsible for that, whoever votes on that, I am humbled beyond it. So thank you so much. Means the world to me. I've been at this for 34 years at the same place. Been over 40 years in broadcasting, and I'm stunned. So thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, guys. Hey, Underdog. What a cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is. That is. Now I didn't see that. That's the first time I saw that.
Yeah.
But let's wrap this thing up. We're gonna go through our 3 plugs first. Pearl Milling Company, which used to be Aunt Jemima Pancakes, that is made religiously in the Jackson household. We also had Converse that I rock once in a while. Still a oldie but goodie. The podcast was Higher Learning. Our words of wisdom came from A. Philip Randolph. Freedom is never granted, it is won. Justice is never given, it is exacted. Our what's going on today was Submersible. Starbucks workers striking, and weed smoking ruled against. And our weekly question is, how many seconds are there in a year? We had a Buy Black segment by Solange Knowles Glassware collection. Little known Black history fact was Mary Jane Richardson Jones. Our All Hell No went to Justice Samuel Alito, and we gave it up to the NBA 2023 NBA draft deeds. And we also heard a little announcement from Charles Barkley congratulating Ernie Johnson on making the Journalism Hall of Fame. So that is our show from Pot Liquor this week. And as always,
thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with us. And as always, in parting, we wish you love, peace, and soul.
And so, y'all, we will see y'all next week.